Waiting on me. Got you. Well, we gave it a fight that first half. Thought we did some good things to get back into the game, but the biggest thing is we fought. Just the second half we didn't do a lot of the same things, and it started with the fight. And we just got to be better in that area. Yes, Duke have you look that way. They're number 5 in the country for a reason. And they're a really good team. They have good players. The complementary guys that they have on their team are really stars in their roles to help, the 2 freshmen really excel. And that's big. You don't really get that, a lot of times with college teams, so really kudos to their staff for being able to bring it together that way. It looks a lot different in person. But I just, I thought, we just got a little disconnected in the second half. Again, the beginning of the second half, no different than Northwestern. And even, you go back to Cincinnati, Georgia, those games as well. The first 4 minutes of each half hasn't been kind to us this year from that standpoint, and we got to figure something out. But we didn't pass the ball to each other. I thought in the second half we got a little selfish on the floor. But we got to take it as one game. To the best of my ability, take it as one game, and move on from there. I guess the biggest thing or the biggest take that I can have from today's game is, there might be some other good teams in the league, but I don't know if there'll be another team that will play that's as good as Duke. And so, we gotta take, as small as they are at times, small victories, and we did fight, and we cut that deficit to 5, and that last 20, I didn't think we did a great job on either end of the floor.
What did they do to Duncan and Bai in the second half to limit their points?
A lot of times what happens is the ball goes through the net, and I think that they were just scoring. And so when the ball goes through the net, it changes the rhythm of the game, I think. And I think that with both Bai and Duncan, they have to be a little bit more disciplined in those areas. And I think that with Bai, especially, he has to, the attention to detail, and I've been saying it, it has to be better. He a lot of times grabs balls with one hand instead of 2, rebounds one hand instead of 2. At some point he has to realize that these little things are, they're costing us as a team, but selfishly they're costing him as well. And I think in playing the game, this is a game of sports, right? I played, so I wanted to win, and I was fortunate enough where I won a lot, but I was also selfish enough to want to get assists. I was selfish enough to want to make a layup. I was selfish enough to want to make all my free throws, and I would like to just see him get greedy. And I think Duncan is just more the seasoning. I like what he brings to us. He just hasn't. He hasn't had to play. Play a game where he's had, or not a game, but play on a team since he's been in college where, there's always a game of this magnitude and different things. And so I just think that he'll keep on coming. And the one thing that I'm proud of him about is he continues to work, and he's an example because I set him for a couple games, and he came off the bench, and he, he's given us good minutes in several games. And, the inconsistencies will be there at times, but it's to be expected. But overall, I'm happy the way he's playing and the things that he does for us.
It was a tough day for Jaden and Lance overall, I guess you could say. And then you look at the rebounding. I think they combined for 1 rebound. And those are 2 guys you're usually looking for to get your break going and the offense going. What did you see from those 2 today?
Yeah, Lance, I think that the break is much needed for him. I think that, he's given us all he's had, up to this point. And unfortunately, you're going to get a game like this every now and again, a game or two, and he just happened to throw it out here tonight. Would have liked him to play better, and I would have liked him to play better for Georgia Tech, obviously, but I would have liked him to play better for himself because this was a good stage for him. And, I was hoping that he played well because he's been playing well for us all season. I think he's been our best player up to this point. But it was tough out there for him, and he was a focal point. They did some things, and again, I think the break will do him well. And with Jaden, it's steady growth. He's going to have to, and I told him this in practice, even a couple months ago, every time he plays, it's going to be an adjustment because each team is going to play him different. Duke is a different team. They're a really good defensive team. The whistle gonna be a little different, so he's gonna have to adjust, and that's the evolution of his game. He has to be able to make the next read. You can't just go in there and try to shoot over everybody. Like you gotta be able to have a feel for it. And again, I've been saying this about him. And I think he's more of a '90s guard than a new millennium guard. And myself and the Mark Prices of the world, Sam Cassell's, Terrell Brandon's, man, we made a living off shooting 12 to 15 footers. It's like a layup. If you master it, it's like a layup. So if you can't get to the rim, them like a layup. And if that's how they're gonna play you, and that's what they're gonna give you, you got to take it.
I know that it's not an excuse, but you're playing with your two veteran without your 2 veteran wings tonight, Luke and Wasey, and with the length that Duke had and all of that, I imagine that had a large impact on what you had to do defensively. You guys played a lot of zone that kind of messed them up at times, but just how much does that impact not having those 2 veteran guys on the defensive end of the court for you in particular?
I think both of them could contribute. The one thing about it, and Wasey and Luke, I both love. They're seniors. They've got experience, but I can't really dwell on it because they here in spirit, but they're injured, and so I'm not going to allow that to be an excuse. Because if we won, then we winning in spite of them, So I'm not going to go down that path. They're missed, obviously. You have to be next man up, and at times, I think, again, this is just me. Sometimes you got to be selfish enough to be like, man, this is nothing but minutes and opportunity. Let me take advantage of it, and coach believe in me, and and maybe I can get all the minutes moving forward. But I would like somebody to do that. But I would say the biggest thing, their length, probably more than anything. Not being out there, that definitely hurt.
Coach, you said something about not making excuses in regards to the roster. The next 3 are at home, with Alabama and A&M being next. You think that's kind of a bonus to have the next 3 at home during the holidays and whatnot?
Yeah, I think that we gotta figure out some momentum. We gotta try to get some momentum. I thought that, again, today I was looking at that as this game. whether we won it or we put up a better fight. I was looking at it this way. Again, if within the league after we play our first game back within the league, if there's another team that looks like Duke, we could have our hands full. But I think that we just need to worry about ourselves. I think that we need to worry about getting healthy. We need to get back to having a committed group and wanting to do the things that are going to help us be successful moving forward. For me, that's the biggest thing. Man, I live and die the sport. The sport been good to me, and I say it all the time. And I won't sleep during this little break and trying to figure it all out. I'm committed, and that's what I try to tell the guys. You got to stay committed, and don't let anyone lie to you. It's okay. I've done it. I've done it this year because I used to do it as a player sometime, but I'll wait and let the line go through, let everybody, the players shake. We shake the coach's line and all that good stuff, and just kind of let all the players go and just kind of soak up the energy in the gym. Kind of see what that feel like. Sometimes when you coaching, you don't really know what that feel like, but you just try to soak up the energy of the gym to see what it feel like. And I do that because not only am I interested, but I want to post on my team. Like I'm looking guys in the eyes each and every day. You want to know who in the foxhole with you. It's every day, man. And it's not easy. And I just want to know. So we have to roll up our sleeves and we'll get back at it Christmas night and prepare.
You're talking about available minutes out there for someone to step up. Where does Suare fit in in that respect?
Suare was good tonight. I think that the one thing about him is when he's on the floor, you got to have a connector with him, and I think that when he's at his best, I always say this, it's not necessarily fair, but I played the position as a point guard. Man, you got to put people in place. And Suare gives us good energy. He gives us good effort. At times he's been challenged by the language barrier at times, but I don't use that as an excuse. Again, I just feel like you got to figure it out. I played with Arvydas Sabonis, and when he first came, he wasn't great, with his English, but we had to learn how to. You got to learn and you got to figure that out. You kind of got to figure out a couple words that he knows and figure out some words in his language, and we figured it out. And we won a lot of games with him, and I think Suare's no different. But I loved his energy. I loved his effort. I always tell him I know where he stands. I know where he stands, and I know he's committed to being a good player, but I know he's more so committed to, to Georgia Tech and the program.
Anything else? Is Luke out for an extended time, or just sort of waiting to see with that?
I'm not for sure on that, actually. We'll see, probably after the break, what that looks like, and then just kind of go from there. I'm hoping that, as we get a couple more days away from Christmas. That's all I want under my tree is some vouchers saying I got some players back. All right.